Well, good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well today. Our lesson title is It's in the Details. And this idea came from me from an episode that happened just recently. I staggered into the kitchen, a typical morning, to make myself my coffee. Now, it does sound familiar. You do the same thing, I bet, in some way. So I put it in the filter and the coffee and the water, and then turned on the machine, awaiting the anticipated nectar that would start my day off with a zing. Well, I got to talking with my wife and son off to the side and returned to the coffee maker to check on the status of it. And I found a cup of coffee all right. It was all over the counter. It was dripping down off the counter onto the floor. What had happened? And then I looked at the coffee machine and discovered what was missing in the details. I forgot to put a cup on the machine to capture the coffee. I couldn't believe I did something so stupid and dumb. I was in a hurry and I missed a vital step in the routine of just making a cup of coffee. Now, I could say this happens often, but it doesn't. In fact, I can only remember maybe two or three times in my lifetime I can remember that ever happened, but it did happen again. And you would think I would learn about this step. But sometimes doing a small thing can be so extremely satisfying and necessary as I just shared with you. Out of all the proportion to how easy it is to place a jigsaw puzzle piece into the right slot, or wiping your screen spotless, or the counter of the kitchen, or looking back at a clean, sparkly kitchen that you just washed all the dishes, or making a nice diagonal, pretty cut right across a very beautiful, appetizing sandwich. All those details like that can be so satisfying. So this simple act of satisfaction seemed to come kind of haphazardly. Now, much of the time, you're barreling through the day like I am, and the tiny actions that make up mostly of that day seem to be in a way like washing dishes, or washing another load of laundry, or picking up prescription, or sweeping the front porch, or trying to find where you put the television remote control, or even trying to find time to make that one phone call you've been trying to do for a week to talk to a friend that you promised that you would call. All these things seem to take up our day. No matter what your day looks like, life is ultimately made up of zillion tiny actions that we do. Small movements of the hand and the feet and the eyes and the mind. Things are always happening, these small little things that we just take for granted. And whether these actions feel like round pegs into a perfect hole, or bushes that scrape you as you rush past them, it depends a lot on what the actions are and how you perform them. So, what I'm trying to say is these small details, these small actions that we take for granted every day, that when you don't do them correctly, has an impact. Or you take them for granted for so much that when things do not happen like you thought they would in an automatic way, it kind of messes everything up. So these little actions feel better and more rewarding when our mind stays with the action itself, rather than fixate on what's happening beyond it. In other words, we consciously do something that we think are just small actions, we put ourselves into it just a little bit more. So if you're scrambling around, for example, like I was the other day in a junk drawer to find some scissors, life feels mildly annoying until you find them, then you're satisfied. That small little action, because you just want to get the scissors in your hand and go do the next thing. There's a small moment of satisfaction that I'm talking about there. So if instead you open the drawer and treat the hunt for scissors as a tiny mission that currently sits at the center of your life, it feels just fine to look for the scissors, and pretty great when you find them. You put a little more emphasis into it, and you find satisfaction in it. It takes only a slight effort to do it this way instead. Aim your attention on the act itself instead of beyond, just to get through it, to get to something else. But there's much less friction and annoyance involved when you do that, and something quite satisfaction, rather than just being relieving that you did it, about completing it. Not when, but how we do things every day. Now you're thinking, where am I going with this? In that detail side of the fence. I'll get to the spiritual aspect in just a moment that we're talking about here. Essentially, you're taking the little act that's before you and making a tiny focused mission out of it. You're paying attention to the details of your life. Find the scissors in this drawer. Put the broom back on the hook. Pour myself a glass of water. You put a little more imaginary wall around the act, making it into a small 2 to 10 second act in which you're concerned only with that tiny mission. In other words, just slow down a little bit. Pause for a moment in your life, of this rich life that we're given to us by our Creator. These wonderful things that we do every day we take for granted, and just find satisfaction in it. To give yourself that moment of saying, I did that. Then you watch this little mission unfold to the end, which only takes a few seconds now, and you watch your hands fold the towel and button up the shirt or lift the faucet lever, whatever it may be. You notice any aesthetic detail, like the bubbles that come out of the glass when you are filling it up with something, and the sound of the Coke or the iced tea or the water going in the glass. Just, you don't have to do this all the time, but just every now and then pause and think about what you're doing. So performing the tiny mission is only a matter of taking a real interest or witnessing what's happening here, which only takes a few seconds. So the glass being filled, or the hanging of a jacket, or be there for a short drive to the pharmacy, and you just don't just rush there. You notice on the left and right of the shops that you didn't realize were there. You notice that you appreciate you can drive still, or you appreciate this, those moments like that. Now, I know this kind of sounds kind of necessary in a way. And these sorts of actions are so tiny and easy that they don't require a whole lot of attention. It's true, making a tiny mission out of these events is really unnecessary. If all you care about is getting a thing done, then fine. But if you want to enjoy the moment of some revelation, some insight, if you want to find that satisfaction of doing that even greater, then you might want to take a moment every now and then to do this. The quality of your life also matters. And you can't get quite a bit out of a 3 to 10 second of intentional, interested action than just tumbling through it, inertia. It's hard to really articulate rewards exactly because they're so subtle and aesthetic and right brain, maybe even spiritual. Inserting the occasional tiny mission is mildly satisfying and makes you less rushed and preoccupied, and pausing to just see life in all its details. Mission accomplished. So when you pull out the cupboard to put the dish away, enjoy the reveal of that. Notice the second sound the dish makes when you put it on the cupboard, and the clinking in the sound. And how you can totally do this. And seeing the tiny mission arrive as a done state. It's satisfying. All your work, everything you draw, cut, fix, mold, crumble, straighten, put away, looks right back at you afterward, if you pay attention, and say, you did this. So life is in details. Those details that we skim by in habit or preoccupancy becomes lost in life. But when you add up all the details, all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle becomes a large part of your day and eventually your life. Every day is an experience, not just to get things done day. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It's a day in which you actually say, I did a lot of things today, and I can tell you what I did because I paid attention to what I did. Now, let's go to our faith. Proverbs in chapter 3, 5 through 8 says this: trust the Lord completely and don't depend on your own knowledge. With every step you take, think about what He wants, and He will help you go the right way. Don't trust in your own wisdom, but fear and respect the Lord and stay away from evil. If you do this, it will be like refreshing drink and medicine for your body. So we trust the Lord every step we take, every detail of our life. So how do we apply this in our life? In the hustle and bustle of our lives, it's easy to feel disconnected from our deeper selves, lost in this whirlwind of to-do lists, and I have them. It overwhelms me, and endless distractions. What if we could infuse our everyday routines with a sprinkle of faith, turning mundane moments into opportunities for growth, gratitude, and connection? Now, imagine waking up each day with a sense of purpose that transcends mere routine, guiding you through the challenges and the joys with a heart just full of hope and excitement about life. So, in this lesson, we're going to explore the many ways to weave faith into the fabric of our daily lives, transforming ordinary experiences into the extraordinary ones by the details. Whether you're seeking solace in tough times or simply looking to cultivate a more mindful existence, let's go on this journey just for a moment now to discover how faith can illuminate your path, nurture your soul and spirit, and enrich those small, overlooked moments that make life truly remarkable. And let's unlock the power of faith one day at a time as we do this. Now, let's get into detail of this now. Starting your day with a touch of spirituality, you can set a positive tone for everything that follows. And you incorporate your faith into your morning routine. It can be as simple as spending a few moments in reflection of prayer to start your day off right. Every day when I go to my office or where I'm home or not, whatever it may be, I just pause for the day to give it to God and to think about what can I do for him through my daily routine. Consider possibly creating a space, a very peaceful space in your home where you can connect with your beliefs. Will it be a quiet moment in your bedroom or a quiet moment in the living room or just sitting on a porch, whatever it may be. Then you surround yourself possibly with elements that can inspire you maybe, such as a candle or meaningful photos or quotes or photographs of loved ones around you, whatever it may be that just relaxes you and focuses you on the richness of life. And this quiet moment, this morning routine, can be used to express gratitude for what you had in the past, but also the day that is to come in front of you. To meditate on your intentions or read passages from the Bible that uplifts your spirit. By beginning your day with a nurturing practice, you can align your heart and mind with a sense of high purpose and peace in your mind by paying attention to the details of that day. So when we pray, we just start talking. Here's the thought I had. But we need to pause before we pray, for example. Here's the details. And remember the all-important details. Who we are. Why are we talking? Who are you talking to? And the sacred time to pray itself, the rich time that's available for us. The details of that prayer. Let me explain that a little bit more because it means a lot to me. I need to pray to God. Lord, I need to help you. Da da da. Wait a minute. Who am I to talk to the Almighty? What should be my posture? What should be my thought process? Where should be my focus in order to talk to him? That I truly am talking to the King of Kings. See those details versus just rushing to the routine. So consider praying little prayers, for example. A busy life is the number one distraction from prayer. Jesus says that prayer is so essential that he prayed before he was even betrayed in the Garden of Gethsemane. So in fact, the early church was tasked to pray without ceasing in 1 Thessalonians. So how are we supposed to pray nonstop if most of us can't even find 5 minutes to pray throughout the day? And oh my God does not count, by the way, as a prayer. So put those reminders throughout your day to draw your attention back to conversation with God. Every time you're reminded, just stop. Spend a few small prayer seconds praying about whatever is on your mind. Lord, calm my spirit. That's the prayer. How are you supposed to pray nonstop? by just constantly having that in front of you as a conversation with God throughout the day in detail. So you deepen your morning ritual. You might also want to integrate affirmations that resonate with your beliefs. Now, here's some examples to inspire you, for example. To say to yourself, I am supported and loved by a greater power. That's an affirmation. Today, I will choose faith over fear. Here's another one. With each step I take, I feel guided and protected. Now, one of my favorites is this one. You and me, God, together. Just put that affirmation in your morning to start your day off. Here's one last thing for a morning journal idea or just a routine. Maybe start a journal of faith where you jot down your reflection, your prayers, or even moments of synchronicity throughout the day. Times when you just want to say, I had a thought. I talked to God today. I feel peace. Those moments like that. This practice reinforces your faith and helps you recognize and celebrate the small blessings, the details that slip by unnoticed. You're making a journal of those small details of your faith. Remember that every morning is a fresh opportunity to renew your spirit and embrace the path that's laid before you. Now, let's go a little further in the day. Life is peppered with small, often overlooked moments that can serve as a reminder of our faith. So we embrace these instances, not only elevates our mundane task, but deepens our sense of connection to the divine. Each chore or daily routine can become an opportunity for meditation and reflection. For example, while washing dishes, let the warm water remind you of the purity of God's blessings and forgiveness. Consider each dish as a reminder of the blessing in your life where food is provided for you. And here's some other tasks that you can do. These are all just ideas. There's so many more. For example, cooking. You view the meal preparation as a way to nourish not just the body, but also the soul. That's through gratitude for the ingredient that can transform this into a very sacred ritual. When you eat, you say the grace beforehand, which is truly a meaningful prayer, not a token prayer of what God has given you. So cooking. Let's go walking. So maybe if you're walking a daily stroll, it's a pilgrimage, not just a walk to exercise, it's a pilgrimage. You notice the beauty around you and offer silent prayers of God's wonderful majesty around you. Third way, cleaning, possibly. So when you declutter, as a metaphor for releasing this junk in your life, this negativity in your life. So as you're cleaning up stuff, clean your mind and your soul as you're doing it as a symbol of that. Each item removed can symbolize letting go of something that no longer serves your spiritual growth. In other words, use that as a time of detailed time to let your faith grow. So we incorporate faith into daily tasks and serve as a very gentle reminder, a subtle reminder to stay present and aware of your life. Set aside times for silence while folding laundry can create a space for reflection. Instead of just doing it, say, I got to do this towel, I got these towels. As you fold it, just think about it as you're folding it and reflect about how God loves you. By recognizing those everyday actions as symbols of growth of your spirit, we cultivate a deeper sense of peace and acceptance of God. Now, consider the simple table to visualize how everyday tasks can be transformed right there in front of you as you fold the clothes. So let me kind of get to the main heart of this right now. You got the point already. We embrace a life rooted in compassionate beliefs. Can significantly enhance the quality of our relationships. We can approach others with understanding and empathy. We can foster an environment where communication thrives. We can be expressed through just simple action as we listen closely and actively when others share their thoughts. And we offer support during challenging times because we have that peace in our life. We practice gratitude to acknowledge the value of those around us. So all these principles into our interactions can promote a deep sense of connection that can withstand life's trials and tediousness and routine. But let's talk a little bit more just for a moment about gratitude and reflection. When we come now to the sort of close of this, if you haven't got the point yet, embracing a life filled with gratitude and reflection, it invites a harmonious balance within our daily experience. We take a moment each day, a detailed moment, to acknowledge the positive aspects of our life. No matter how small, we actively cultivate a more profound sense of awareness and appreciation. Try adopting simple practices such as keeping a gratitude journal or jot down these things that we're thankful for each day. This can include anything from a comforting cup of coffee, when you have coffee in your cup, in the morning, to a kind word from a friend. We focus on these moments. We not only enhance our perspective, but also we deepen our faith in life's journey. We see the day as a miracle and as a gift from God and a blessing from God. And every second, every moment, every detail of it is part of God's miracle. And we acknowledge that by focusing in on it occasionally or having a habit of doing it. We reflect, and it serves as a tool for personal growth in our life, allowing us to weigh our actions and thoughts against what we really believe. We create a quiet space, like I mentioned, for thinking and contemplation, perhaps through maybe meditation and just thinking, and breathing slowly and quietly. It can further, enrich this process. So during these moments, consider asking yourself questions like this. What lessons have I learned this week? Or how have I shown kindness to other people? You might even find it helpful to share your reflections in a community setting, fostering that connection like in Sunday school class or in where you live. So here's things I want to share with you, a little table before we come to our conclusion. If we do a daily practice gratitude journal, you put in maybe a question would be like, what made me smile today? If you do a weekly gratitude sharing, you can ask yourself, how can I serve others more effectively? If you have mindful meditation, you can say, what challenges have strengthened my faith? See how you pull for these moments and what those key points are. So as we wrap this up, the exploration of integrating faith into our everyday lives in detail, remember that these small intentional steps can create a significant ripple in our personal lives and world and beyond. Faith isn't just a belief, it's a practice, a lens through which we can view the ordinary as extraordinary. Whether it's through a simple act of kindness, moments of gratitude, or finding strength in times of uncertainty, each day brings an opportunity to weave our beliefs into the fabric of our life. I share this one last story I found that kind of brings it all together as a story. Once upon a time, in a quaint village, there was a woman named Clara. Now, Clara was not famous, nor was she particularly wealthy, really, but she had unshakable faith that guided her every action. She believed that every detail of her life, no matter how small, held a divine purpose. So Clara started each day with a prayer of gratitude and a heart ready to serve. Her garden was her sanctuary, where she found joy in tending to the plants. She often shared the fruits of her labor with her neighbors, believing that her faith was best expressed through generosity. One chilly winter morning, Clara noticed that Mrs. Thompson, the elderly woman next door, was struggling to keep her house warm. So Clara, without even a second thought, gathered firewood from her own supply and brought it over. She spent the afternoon stoking the fire and chatting with Mrs. Thompson, bringing warmth not just to her home, but to her heart as well. Every Sunday, Clara baked bread for the local church, but her faith was not confined to the pews and hymns. Throughout the week, she paid attention to the small, everyday moments. When she saw a young mother overwhelmed with groceries, she offered a helping hand. When she saw a stray dog wandering in a village, she provided with food and a warm place to rest. So Clara's faith was reflected in her smile, the kind words she spoke, the patience she showed. And her acts of kindness were like pebbles dropped into a pond, creating ripples that went throughout the village. People began to notice the small miracles that happened when they paid attention to the details of their own lives, inspired by Clara's example. Years later, Clara passed away. The village held a memorial in her honor, and they remember her not just for the big things she did, but for the countless small acts of love and faith that made a profound impact in their lives. Isn't that a great story? And so, Clara's story became a modern parable to remind her that faith is not just found in grand gestures or lofty proclamations, but in the humble, everyday details that we often overlook. It taught a village that living one's faith is about finding the sacred in the ordinary and the divine in the details. You will find God in the details. Celebrate the details of life today. The Lord bless you.